Watch that fucking completely derail my plans. For real this time. Sync clap. That's right. We're back to sync claps because I lost my lavs or had them stolen. Depends who you ask. Hello. Welcome to 2025. It's going to be an amazing year. We have a lot. What's up? It's already October. November. It's already going to be November. What's up? It's going to be December by the time this video is out. And we still have another video to record in December. Wow. Sorry, I had a lot of things planned this year, and I'm not going to get into them at all because that's what the December video is for. This video, October, November, is supposed to be describing my time living in the present of October, November. So I'll give my year recap soon. Spoilers, as you'll notice in this video, I'm in a different house. If you watched the video from last December, this is a big life change. But we'll get to that later. Right now, what we will get to is the fact that October was probably the most happy I think I've been in a very long time. Now, again, I won't get into it, but 2025 overall has been a very happy year for me. So the fact that October has hit like a peak is insane. A peak of joy is insane. There's a few main reasons, but the biggest one is that I was able to spend a week with Justin, one of my best friends of all time. One of my best friends I've had since childhood. We met online, and then we never fully met in person. We met online almost 20 years ago. That's not right. Is it? Wow, that is right. It was almost 20 years ago. And we always talked about meeting up, and then we finally got to this month, and it was very exciting, very fun. We got to talk about a lot of things. We got to get to know each other even better through our time together. Whenever we do speak, we don't speak super frequently, but whenever we do, it always just fills my heart with joy. And so being with him for a week was incredible and just made me feel alive a little bit. I mean, everything about it was so nice. From walking around LA to just spending time here in my home playing Tekken and Little Big Planet and just sort of reliving the past a little bit. Something I don't often get to do because I'm constantly moving forward, but being able to watch shows and play games that I did when I was in high school just really unlocks this nostalgic joy inside of me. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that nostalgic joy is what keeps me going a little bit. And on top of all of that, I've been meaning to make videos, and I've just had so much going on. I just really needed to just put my camera up and start recording. I think it's just a muscle I need to work back again. But October itself was a joy. I spent a lot of time with Justin. We went and played games, we watched shows, but we also went thrifting. I got a new wardrobe, essentially, which is very nice, thanks to him. And we recorded a podcast that will be uploaded here probably at the same time as this video, but maybe a little bit before. It was just so nice getting to sit there and talk to him for a couple hours and just really pick each other's brains, because I feel like we're both very similar in that we both like talking about ourselves and the way our brains work. And so just having a conversation with him felt so like interesting. It felt like we were picking each other apart, even though we know each other probably what felt like better than ourselves. But even though we know that that's not true, we still like know little things that the other, that you can't tell about yourself. And it's just so interesting hearing each other talk. We played just a game in the car where we just sat and started like talking about our impressions of each other, and it was just so interesting. Like, because deep down, it's like when you hear somebody say something about you, it's like deep down you know it to be true because you've like felt that once or twice. But like it was so fundamental that it's like, oh, like I didn't know I do that, but I guess that's true. Like, so interesting. I love that guy.
Of my visit here to you has been like the nostalgia I think I felt of everything that's been like our friendship, our relationship, really like, I think, tender walk down memory lane for
that's been the theme of the whole trip, I think.
Yeah. It was like a lot of things that we otherwise couldn't have done, I want to say, because of the distance, like we've been able to do because we've been in the presence of one another. As you mentioned, I am genuinely, I think, impressed how much we've had to talk about. Over because I'm so bad at math, but we've driven. You drove to LA 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
You drove back 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
We drove to our next location 1.5 hours. So let's be honest. Like we've probably spent like 7 or more hours in the car together.
Today or in general?
In general, maybe.
We've had how many trips to LA? 2, including the coming back. 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's like at least 12 hours of car, right?
12 hours.
Probably total.
And I don't think we really stopped to not talk for much under those 12 hours.
We've talked so much, and yet we still decided to have the cameras roll and talk for another 2 hours straight.
Just to yap a little bit more for you guys. Yeah.
It is really interesting. Another theme of the trip was probably the main theme of the trip, actually, was the idea of chasing perfection but not achieving it.
I think if there's anything else, I wanted to say, and maybe you could kind of feel that this was going. I know we've been repeating that line from the if any of you guys have seen the airport or the airplane like boarding video.
Has seen that video?
Dude, it has millions of views, I'm sure. Okay, someone please comment if you've seen the video.
Comment down below if you got this far and if
you've seen the airport boarding order video. That video is awesome. The line from it, chasing perfection, we will always come up short. What was the next part?
We will always come up short, but we will always try.
Something of the sort.
We will always try, getting closer each time, but never achieving.
Something of the sort.
Reaching for perfection, we will always come up short, but perhaps we can manage to get closer in the process.
I think everything that we did, we sort of brought it back to the notion that we will always sort of try to be perfect, but we can never fully grasp perfection. And I think that that's incredibly human, right? I think that is sort of something maybe we all do. Or maybe I'm just weird, and maybe we do that, but nobody else does. But yeah, it's sort of something that we've both done throughout our entire lives, is that we've sort of tried optimizing these things, but we don't have the ability to be perfect, right? Nobody fully does. But I feel like I try to do that within everything I do. Everything I do, I try to be sort of this thing that I'm not. I try to be very good at something, but I'm not good at that thing. I feel like I always try to be too good, or I always think that maybe I'm better than I am in some way. And so I always come up short. I always sort of fumble or mess up, or, I'm just not good at a lot of things. And that's okay. It feels like everything that I've sort of tried to do, especially on this channel too, it's like I skip a step or I do something wrong and I end up coming up with some sort of mediocre product in one way or another, either with this camera thing or like maybe I'm making food or, maybe even in some of my social life. I feel like I mess up a lot. I feel like I mess up damn near everything I try to do at one point or another. And this isn't like a pity parade or anything. This isn't like oh, I suck. It is very much just like a reflection of who I am and the things that I've tried to do. I always try to be confident or, try to be at least competent in some things that I do or some things that I try. And I make mistakes. And I wish that I didn't. A big part of my brain, the biggest part of my brain, hates every single mistake I make in the process of anything. Like, usually if it's by myself, if it's a mistake I've made on my own, I sort of brush it off as this, yeah, you always make mistakes, and that's okay. But it always, in the context of other people, I feel like I make mistakes just as often as when I'm by myself. And the fact that it impacts another person or sometimes several people, I tend to beat myself up a lot about it because I know that the other people are beating me up in their minds too, because, it's a mistake that impacted them as well. And lately, these days, I've been beating myself up about it a lot. I think because the stakes are a lot higher than they've ever been. And that's okay, but it's scary, and we need to stop making those mistakes. I think that it's becoming time to stop making the mistakes and start being better. I tend to I look at progress, I think, and I see that the progress, and I know that I am making progress in a lot of things, and so I tend to give myself some slack based on those criteria. But at the end of the day, these mistakes that I make are impacting other people in some way or another, and I do just need to improve. That being said, I will never be perfect. I can't be perfect. I will always try to be perfect, but I won't be. And that's okay, I guess.
Seeing the culmination of your work in the 48-hour film that you put together, to me, was really the culmination of everything that you told me about over the past, like, I don't know, 5 years of knowing you, and how your love for videography and filmography had grown to being what it is. Yeah. You pursuing it in like a professional setting, and it really being something tangible that I could see sitting here with you on your couch. To me, was like the biggest arc from me knowing you as like a kid who didn't really talk about these things, to being like the adult that you are, working on these things, doing them as like part of your job, part of your interest. And that to me was like, it was everything. It really was like one of the most impressive things I think I had ever seen.
And welcome to the end of November. I know I didn't do too much. I didn't talk a lot. I didn't really do exactly what I said I was going to do, in that I was going to try to like vlog more traditionally. I mean, I guess I say that every time and I don't do it. Maybe that's the goal for December this year. Maybe a little bit more of an older style vlog. I don't know. This has just kind of been the way I've been making them, just because it's more comfortable, it's easy. I think it's worse content overall, but it is easier to do, and it's less setting up the camera. I think I just need the camera set up in my living room or something, and then I will be able to vlog the way I want to, I guess. The way I used to. I don't know. I've just needed more inspiration these days, I think, to get up and do this thing. Anyway, despite all that you may have heard today in this video, I have felt happier this October, November than probably a lot of my life. It's just been incredibly fulfilling and very emotionally, I don't know, heartwarming, I guess. Just something about, what I've been doing, and maybe I haven't fully shown what I've been doing or talked about it or anything, but I just know, dear viewer, that I am incredibly happy and very, very excited to continue on this journey, I guess. This journey of life, this whatever it is that I've been doing. It's just been really nice, and I feel like everything I've done this year has led up, everything I've done since I've been an adult, these last few years, has sort of led up to what's going on this whole year and what's been going on now. It feels like everything, my whole life, even, because I met these people throughout this entire point of my life, and they're all coming together and they're all making me happy, and I'm making me happy, I guess. It's been really good. It's been a very successful time, and I still struggle, I guess. We always do. We all struggle, but I've been incredibly happy, and I don't think I could be happier. I think everything is going well, and I can only hope that it continues to go well, and I think it will. Stay tuned for next month's video, where I will recap the year. I will show my month in hopefully more excruciating detail than this one. And October and November have been some of the happiest months of my life. October and November 2025 have been some of the happiest moments of my life. Novembers as a whole, as you may see throughout this channel, are usually very stressful times for me. November has always been this like reflective period, this like depressing, difficult time, and I think it may have still had its moments here in this November, some small spurts of like, oh, this or that, or it's always just a little different for me. I don't really know why. It's just kind of a time, and I reflect on the whole year, and I think about what to do next year, and I try to implement it in December. All that's to say, no matter how difficult it may be, you can still have the best time of your life. And I think that that's what I've been doing. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for continuing to follow me on this journey. And I hope you're still here next month, where another thing drops. Thank you. Hello, welcome to my kitchen. The audio might be bad. It's pointed in my general direction. Sorry, I do need to follow these steps. I'm here making fudge. Fudge in my family is a timed tradition. Every year, my mom would make it for my whole family. And because they're not going to be here with me this year, I learned how to make it myself. Or I got my mom to teach me. I'm here making it for them this year. They don't know I'm doing this. It's a surprise. But it'll be a nice surprise, I think. It's weird, the idea that this is going to be the first Christmas I have not enjoying it with my family directly anyway. I mean, they'll be on FaceTime and everything, but the idea of them moving across the country is something that's been in the air, I guess, right? In the know for over a year now. We've been planning the idea that we might move, or they might move. I got out of that pretty quickly around March this year, as you've heard, as I've talked about, because I didn't want to move, right? But now that they are moving, it feels sudden. It feels too soon. It feels like it hit me too fast. It feels like, even though I knew it was coming, it feels like it's just difficult. I mean, moving away from my family was a little easier, but I guess it's because they were still here, right? The fact that they were here made it easier, and I could see them, but maybe it'll be easier when they're actually gone. But the fact that they're still here, and I know that they'll be leaving soon, is really sad. I'm a proponent of traditions and things. Maybe not in the traditional sense. Holidays and things like that, I don't typically celebrate. But when it comes to, things like this, foods or, rituals, I guess, almost, I get a little sappier about it. Because it's like, this is just what I've done forever, right? And I mean, if you're a fan of the channel, you'll know. Damn. If you're a fan of the channel, you'll know I'm a big sucker for nostalgia and anything like that, where a repeated tradition for sentimentality really tugs at my heartstrings in a way. It tugs at my brain heartstrings, I think. Because I know, oh God, because I just love it so much, man. It's just something about doing something consistently, or doing something that I did as a kid, always brings it out in me too, I think. I don't really fully know why, although I'm sure everybody gets it. It's not just a unique to me thing, I think everybody likes doing stuff that they did when they were a kid. But me especially, I'm a big sucker for nostalgia and slight traditions, I guess is what I would call them. Something like this, where it's like a food that's made every year around this time, or like watching a certain movie once a year as like a thing to do, I guess even this video that you're watching, it's a video I do once a year, right? My December wrap up I've done for 3 years. 3 years in a row, a few years more than that, maybe 2 more years than that. It's 2025. I've been making these videos since 2018. So, yeah, I guess maybe total of 4 years. I would guess. Something's telling me this isn't gonna go well. Yeah, I mean, I love doing these videos in the same way that I think I'm going to love doing this fudge. Every year, just kind of wrapping up my thoughts, my dreams, my everything, really. It's just nice, you know? Because I know, oh, there it is. I know that I'll enjoy it later on, these videos. I watch them every year, at least once, and it's always an amazing time. So thanks for listening to this part of the video. Enjoy your traditions, love your family, because you never know how long you'll have with them. Hi, welcome back again to my new apartment. I use new loosely. I've been here for 6 months. Somewhere in between 6 and 8 months. I forget fully the timeline. It's been a long year. Moving into this place, moving out for the first time, has been a journey in itself. I think it's been maybe the most difficult, taxing part of my life. My adult life, at least, anyway. I say that because I feel like I haven't done too much since I've been an adult. I feel like I've sort of festered. Maybe maybe that's not the right word, but I've sort of been stagnant a little bit. I feel like I've been at my parents' house, and while maybe I've had a job, I've gone to school, got a different job, I've traveled the country, I've, came back, freelanced, and then sort of went back to the job life. I feel like even despite all of that, it feels like I hadn't gone anywhere professionally or human not professionally, but I feel like I didn't get anywhere personally. Maybe that's the word. But I think now that I'm here, it feels like it's a tangible change. And while maybe I have been going through growth and change and whatever through the years, I feel like this is the most tangible, viewable piece of change that you could possibly notice, I guess. Moving out was always sort of a goal of mine, in that I always craved this independence of I could make my own food, I can go shop for my own groceries, I can get up and do whatever, and it felt like I couldn't do that in my previous home, not out of a sense of like being pushed down or limited or told that I couldn't do those things, but that I didn't have to, right? I felt like it was a very cushy life, which I could have stayed at for a while longer, right? But I just think that I needed this for me. And I've been in sort of a growth period these last few months, but I know that next year I will be growing into what I want and need. For next year, well, let's not talk about next year's goals. Let's talk about last year's goals this year. I don't fully remember all of my goals. I do know that one of them was writing scripts every month. I wanted to write because I had the assumption that I would be moving this year, and that writing would be easy to do no matter where I ended up, no matter if I was moving or not. I was wrong. I was able to keep up with it mostly for the first 6 months. With the exception of, I believe, April, maybe March, or no. With the exception of one of the middle months where I wrote a one-shot D&D campaign, and I sort of counted that. It wasn't a script, but I wrote it. I'll get into that in a second too. But I wrote, I believe, 6 scripts this year, which sounds like a lot considering I feel like I gave up pretty early, but I wrote 6. I think 2 of them didn't get fully finished, and one of them was written in a week. Yeah, so I wrote 6 scripts this year, I think, instead of the 12. That was the goal. However, 6 is better than none. Can we talk about that? Can we say 6 is better than none? I'm proud of a couple of them. The first 3, I think, were really good. And then I sort of, fluctuated from there. And then especially the last one I did, I was like, I have a week and whatever. Wasn't able to do that. Will I be making them next year? Probably not, considering the way things are going. But, I would like to make at least one. If I could choose, I would make one. But, that might be difficult. On theme with things that I started at the beginning of the year and then couldn't keep up with, I actually could not keep up with my 1 second of every day this year. I started it already in a bit of a shaky, I was on and off at the beginning of the year, and then immediately I was just like, well, if I can't do it every day, then what's the point, right? And then I started moving, and I think I'd already given up by then, but it reignited the passion to do it, but I had already been so far off that I couldn't possibly continue. Um, Hopefully going into next year, I will be doing it again. I really loved that project. It's my favorite thing to go back and rewatch, and I think this year would have been the best year to do it. I think this year had a lot of amazing moments that I couldn't possibly just keep talking about here. Um, I feel like I let myself down by not doing that, because this would have been the best year to do it. Um, so much has happened, so many beautiful moments that I wasn't able to capture. I've been sort of slacking in terms of just all of this video stuff. I just feel like I haven't been on it as much as I was previous years, because I have a job and things that, like, I wasn't, back when I was freelancing, of course I could do it all. But last year I had my jobs, and I guess in the first half of the year I didn't have my jobs, which is why I had the habit to do it going into the latter half of the year. But next year I will definitely do it. We will miss 1 year, and only 1 year. Also, things that I said I was going to do at the start of the year, maybe I didn't say it in the video, but I really wanted to vlog every month last year, this year. And I remember vlogging January. I don't even know where that footage is. It's on a hard drive somewhere. I think I finished the video. I just never uploaded it. Because it was the middle of February, and like I just didn't want to keep doing that. I don't know where that is. I could probably look for it and put it in right here. Even just in terms of like videos and stuff, personal videos, I have really been slacking. I wanted to record a vlog in October, and then I kind of half did, and then I said, well, I'll just continue it in November, and then I kind of made a half and half vlog, kind of like the way I did June and July in 2020. And then I was supposed to be doing this video this year again, as I always do in December, and I sort of like didn't do what I wanted to do. I really wanted to make it like I did that first year, where it's just like these little moments, and just, again, kind of dropped the ball. I get incredibly busy, and I start losing motivation. Like, I start using all of my free time to relax, as opposed to picking up a camera and recording and then going and editing. And while I do want to be that again, I want to be able to do that, it's just so hard. It's just so difficult, man. It's tough. I feel like the other goal that I remember setting, and I don't know if I said this in the video, I must have, I'm not going to sit here and watch it while I'm recording, but was to become an ambassador for a lens company, and I never made content. I wanted to become more content focused to become the ambassador of a lens company. The goal was to make more content, and then I sort of didn't. However, in moving, I actually set up a workbench, which was like sort of made to be the backdrop of content. So I think it's possible. I think we're going to make more content. I will not set this heavy goal. However, I will say I hope to make more content next year. This year, I don't even think I uploaded. I think that was my only upload for this whole year, and it was in December in January. So I hope to make more in the coming year. I think as far as goals are, that's kind of all I can ask for, right? Just make a little bit more content, and maybe do 1 second of every day. I think those are solid goals to get into, as I don't want to overload myself, and also I tend to not follow through on my goals. But who knows? Maybe if I finish all of these small goals next year, I can have bigger goals and continue on my legacy. Anyway, outside of goals, I feel like one of the best things that happened this year was that I started playing D&D as a DM with friends. I've played D&D last year, for the first time as a player. And then sometime this year, I think I want to say around February, maybe January actually, a friend came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you play D&D?" I was like, "Yeah, I play D&D." And they were like, "Do you want to DM?" And I was like, "I could DM." We did a one shot in, I want to say, April or May, which is why I didn't write that script. I was writing the one shot. And then we had so much fun that we decided to make our campaign, which I promptly wrote within 2 months because there was kind of a sort of a time restriction of like, hey, can we do this while this is happening, or, you know, before this happens? And I was like, totally, yeah. And I've undertaken the huge responsibility of DMing a campaign, which I'm not mad at myself for not keeping up with script writing, because after a certain point, I just became a writer for this Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which is fine, and it's fun, and I love it. So I'm not mad that I stopped writing scripts, because I would rather be writing this, but also writing the script sort of helped this, because now I'm like, oh, what are these characters thinking? What is all this? So it's like the goal of becoming a better writer this year the goal was to become a better writer, right? The action of that goal was writing a script every month. It became writing this campaign. So I think the goal was achieved and is thriving. So that, again, kind of all I can ask for. So we've had some beautiful times playing that once a month for the last 3 months. Besides this month, everybody, obviously it's December, everybody's busy. You know, no one wants to play Dungeons and Dragons in December. Not me. And yeah, I think as last year's goal was to become a better writer, I think next year's goal is to become a better filmmaker. While I have always sort of been against the idea of filmmaking, I've always been not against the idea, but like I've always been like I wanted to be a commercials guy or whatever. But like after getting better at writing, it feels like the only natural progression is to maybe get better at filmmaking. Whether that's, I just want to do some small projects, I think. Even if it's just stuff here in my home, I think I just want to make some small thing. I don't know what yet, but I want to make something small and interesting. And I think that's going to be fun, right? Another amazing thing, if you're watching the channel right now, obviously I think you know, my friend Justin came out this year. He's been my friend forever. Watch that video, or it's this video. I don't know if I'm putting them all together or if I'm making separate things. If anything else, there's a podcast that we made for a day where we just sat and talked for about 2.5 hours. Go watch that. It means the world to me. That was the height of my life in that moment. Like, it was so surreal to be sitting there with my best friend talking like we were, you know, like we've known each other our whole lives, because we have, but that was the first time we were seeing each other in person. And it was just so beautiful. Like the way it all works out, you know? Truly, 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 truly incredible. Another big thing that happened this year was that my family did move. The whole reason for me moving into this apartment was because at the beginning of the year, they said, we're going to be moving. You're either coming with us or you're moving out. And they didn't really say it like that. They really wanted me to go with them, but I wanted to stay. I feel like I have so many friends here, and I have all of my career prospects, and everything I've ever known was here, right? And while I did flirt with the idea of moving away, and like going to like a different part of the country than them, even, it just didn't make sense, because I just love all of my friends here so much that I feel like I needed to stay here, if only for a little while longer. Um, and I just couldn't bear the idea. But leaving them was really difficult. Leaving them was hard. Staying here while I know that they're out somewhere else is just, it was hard. It was a hard morning for me. And I know everything's fine, right? FaceTime exists. People are long distance. But everything's different now. They just moved at the start of the month. I was gonna get it on camera because it's part of the video, but it was just the timing didn't fully work out. They were packing up everything until the last second, so it just didn't feel appropriate to set up a camera. And maybe I should have. I don't know, but they're in a different part of the country now, and I'm here where I've always been. Not where I've always been, though. I moved out, so yeah. I stayed because I have so many good friends, and I got a girlfriend this year, and it's been just, it's filled my heart with so much joy and love, and I feel like I couldn't bear to leave that any more than I could bear to leave my family. Like, it was a tough choice all around, but I feel like this is what made sense for me in all aspects of my life, and I'm happy that everything is working out so far. And then, as I tend to top all of these videos off, it's always with, my friends and how much I love them. But I do love all of my friends. I got to spend a lot of time with my lovely girlfriend this year, and I feel like the world has sort of came together this year. It feels like everything I sort of worked for, everything like personally, professionally, even as a kid, right? When Justin came over, it feels like everything I sort of worked for has sort of led up to this year, right? Moving out, seeing my friend, being with all my friends, making this stuff. It has been so fun, and it's probably in part to anybody watching this video. I don't know who you all are, right? I know a lot of you. I don't know all of you, but anybody who is involved in my personal life, I feel like you made my year the best it could have possibly been. It's been an amazing year, and next year is only going to be better. Thank you.